Hey, thanks for clicking on my video here today and giving me a chance. I appreciate it very much. Today we are going to go over a contact juggling illusion known as an isolation. This right here is known as an isolation. This is also known as an isolation. And this over here is also known as an isolation. This is the best way to show you what an isolation is to actually demonstrate it. An isolation is when you use motion to create an illusion of stillness. Today I want to focus on an illusion that is probably one of the easiest isolations to perform and is very effective. Hey everyone, my name is TheAmazingFlec, and today we are going to learn how to do the UFO isolation. I'm only calling it the UFO isolation because I really don't know what else to call it, and I don't know what other people call it. It's just a name. The important thing is to focus on the technique, and the technique is what speaks volumes for itself. Names are just names, and people can argue about names somewhere else. For right now, we are going to focus on learning the UFO isolation. It really is as simple as it looks, just like this. The idea behind an isolation is to try to focus on the center of the sphere and keeping in one location while moving around it. Oh, but before we show you the technique, a little word on safety. A little bit of common sense and a little bit of foresight can go a long way in preventing any accidents from potentially happening. Make sure you're aware of your surroundings. Clear out a nice space before you start practicing this stuff. When you're doing the UFO isolation, the chances of dropping it can be minimal if you apply enough pressure to both sides. However, if your grip isn't good enough, you might find yourself in a situation where it slips out and it can land on something. These can break cell phone screens, tablets, your favorite animal. It can hurt stuff, so you want to make sure that everything's cleared out and you have a fun, safe, happy practice time. If you're anything like me, whenever I'm trying to practice something, my cat sometimes will come out and want to lay right below where I'm practicing, and that causes me having to go somewhere else to go practice. But right now, Lucy, my cat, is sleeping, so we'll leave it at that. All right, let's begin, shall we? So the first thing we want to do is to make two L shapes like this with your hands and rest the ball between them. And you want to kind of contact your thumbs and your forefingers together to lock around the ball best you can. And you're just going to hold it like halfway through, just like that. Now with any isolation, we want to focus on the center of the sphere and make sure we try to keep that as still as possible. This is something that takes patience and practice, and doing it in front of a mirror is a good idea. But warning, don't get too close to the mirror, because if you're practicing something like, say, the butterfly or other things while you're practicing this illusion right here, you want to make sure you don't put the mirror at risk, because these things can break mirrors, they can chip teeth, they can hurt things. So once again, safety first, a little bit of foresight, a little bit of common sense. Let's go forward now. So we put this between the two L shapes with our thumb and forefingers touching, just like this. And now it's as simple as playing. Just playing with it, moving around subtly and trying to keep that ball in one spot. A real good way of trying to keep the ball in one spot is stare through the ball. You'll see an image flipped upside down and convex or concave or distorted. And if you try to focus on that image and keep that image in one spot, you'll find that you'll get a better result than focusing on the overall shape of the ball, keeping that in one spot. I hope that makes sense, because this is a lens. If you stare through it, you'll see that image. And if it moves just ever so slightly, you can see the center of the image within the ball move very dramatically. Meaning that if you move just 1 centimeter to the left or to the right, the image in the ball will move 2 or 3 times as much, which makes it a little bit easier to focus on that, because every little subtle movement will come through the inverse image in the ball. So with that being considered, all you have to do is just kind of sit there and explore. Keep in mind there's 3 axes, X, Y, and Z, and you can name them anything you want, but more or less it's left and right, forward and back, and up and down. So if you try to pivot on all of those axes, I'm not a linguician. If you try to pivot on all those different axes, then you'll get different results with the illusion. So you can pivot forward and backwards, and I believe this is the X-axis right here, the horizontal axis. Then you can pivot around this way and this way on the Y-axis. And then of course there's the Z-axis, which is going forward and backwards. So you can pivot around that one as well. And then you can kind of just waver between all of them and blend all of those axes together and create this hovering illusion like this. Now this illusion can really pop more if you keep it in one spot and you stay hyper-focused on keeping it in one spot. Where you're looking as a performer will do volumes for your illusion too. If you're staring intently at that illusion and you're keeping it moving around, then all of a sudden you move it over here, a dramatic movement out of nowhere can really jostle the audience. They don't expect to see that when something's sitting perfectly still and you're moving around it. Now keep in mind, I'm not keeping this perfectly still. This is not an illusion that I use often inside my shows, but it's one I use from time to time, and if you time it just the right way in your performance, it can really wow and amaze your audience. There's also other ways of doing this too, where you can kind of hinge it through and float it around this way, move around, and then float it out that way. So taking advantage of where your hands are positioned and hinging them around, kind of like popping and locking or tutting or something to that effect. Using isolations of your body while you're isolating the sphere can really make some very, very magical moments and wow and amaze even the most skeptical and tough crowd members. It's as simple as that. Just play, have fun, stare through the ball, try to keep the ball in one spot, and explore motion. Just move around it. Have fun with your practice. Isolations are some of my most very favorite things to perform for audiences because they just look so alluring and entrancing. I love seeing the look on people's faces, especially when you execute the isolation just right, that they really believe, even for just a moment, that that ball is actually floating. Which is kind of strange because they can see you touching it, but there's still this illusion that it's floating for some reason. Well folks, I hope this tutorial did you good today in some way. Whether you're beginner to contact juggling or more advanced student, I hope that you got something out of this lecture, and I hope that you also check out the other tutorials I have here on my channel. If you're new to my channel, please know I post every single day for the year of 2021, and I'm a chaotic poster, posting about many different things, many different categories, many different subjects. But one thing I do consistently is post a weekly circus and flow arts tutorial. Sometimes about contact juggling, sometimes about other things like regular traditional juggling, like that right there. Or juggling clubs. Or spinning things on your finger, like this. This is called pediddling. Pretty fun, you can do it with anything flat, like a book, a ring binder, or a pillow off your couch. Nice flat ones work the best. Or you can even learn how to do the devil sticks, just like that. And other tutorials coming up in the future will include how to slack rope walk, how to tightrope walk, and how to wire walk as well. We'll also have some lessons on rope dart, poi, staff, and a number of other flow arts. Now, I'm not the best at any one of these particular things. I like to dabble. I like picking up little bits of skill from all these different flow arts props. And I know enough to teach people the basics, the beginning level stuff, the stuff that gets you started on the path of your own journey of unlocking circus and flow arts. And that's a wrap, folks. Thanks so much for watching my video to the end. I appreciate that very much. I'm pretty much new to YouTube as of January 1st of 2021. I post every day and I'm learning a lot throughout this process. And I would really appreciate it if anyone wants to leave me any feedback, especially if you are another content creator. I can use all the help I can get in order to produce better quality content for everyone out there in the world who wants to watch this sort of stuff. Alright folks, this is where I leave you. I promise, this time I'm going. Remember to never give up. Do your best, stay true to you, and be amazing, folks. Thanks very much for watching. I appreciate it. And have a beautiful day. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.